We're going to talk about a lot today. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about where XRP. We're going to talk about the Bitcoin ETF, the futures ETF that came out. We're going to talk about AI stocks that could do well. We're going to talk about an EV stock that could do well. But before we start, I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I hope you guys are going to have a great week. It's a lot of great things happening this week. The markets are back up, thank God. Bitcoin right now is right under 95,000, so it has to break 95 before it goes on to 100, back to all-time highs. The crazy thing about it is that there's not a lot of excitement in the crypto industry. What happened is that when Trump did all those tariffs and it kind of took the air out of the market, so a lot of retail investors aren't excited no more. Like, we've seen this 100 times before, so they're not really paying attention like they were before. But this is what the institutions, the banks, and the elite want. They want you looking away while they scoop it all up. Now, MicroStrategy just bought a lot more Bitcoin. JP Morgan got involved. Other banks got involved. ProShares is involved. BlackRock is involved. And they've been more involved over the BlackRock actually bought a bunch of Ethereum over the last month or so. That's what's happening, right? Is that historically, when assets like this or something the rich, the elite, and the banks need to control, they make you look away. And that's what they've been doing. And it's been successful. Last night on Strategy Sunday, somebody asked me, they said, will banks one day control all of crypto? I said, probably. One day, the only way you'll be able to access crypto is through banks. Then the banks will put a nice big smiley face on it and say, now you can trust it because we control it. And it's happened with everything in history. The internet was supposed to be free. Now, if you're about my age, around 40, you remember that the internet was a free exchange of information and ideas. The internet was supposed to be anybody could put up anything they want, nobody could stop them. That's not true anymore. Post something that the masses don't like or this goes against conventional thought processes on your Instagram or your social media platform, you'll get taken down and your whole page will get down. You can't even put up a website anymore that goes against traditional wisdom or whatever they want. Think about COVID. During COVID, if you said anything against what they wanted you to say, they would destroy you, take you down, and take down your website, anything. They would take you down completely. You would actually, during COVID on Instagram, if you mentioned the word COVID during a live, they would cut the live off. If you mentioned the word COVID in a video, they would reduce the reach of your video. You just say the word. If you typed it in a post, they would reduce the reach. There'd be a warning. Remember those warnings at the bottom? They would come up automatically, reduce the reach of or take it down completely. That's not free. But what happens over time is regardless how free the technology is, they use fear to control people. They make people look away. They use their emotions against the masses. And then the banks end up controlling it anyway, which is very, very sad. Good for us because we're going to still be rich once all this happens. But it's sad for the average person because they've been a perpetual cycle of never having nothing and being workers and nomadic slaves, basically. What I mean by a nomadic slave is that most of us are slaves. And what I mean by that is that we look back at slavery in the United States, at least. Roughly, it lasted from 1776 to right around 1850s. About 70 years, there was slavery in the United States. Now, people will say 400 years, it's not true because the United States didn't exist before 1776. Couldn't have slaves before it existed. So it's about 70 years we had slaves in this country. So slavery would have died off anyway because if you look at it, think about what a slave owner has to do. He has to make a purchase. He has to commit to something. He has to at minimum, he has to keep the person alive, clothed. He has to keep the person fed. He has to keep the person some kind of health care because it's investment. I mean, he bought the slave. He got to keep it alive, or he or she alive. So what's a better way to have slaves? Well, let the person, pay them barely nothing. Let them worry about all that stuff. And when they cannot do it, blame them. Well, you should have took care of your life better. But, see what I'm saying is that now we have a system of slavery in which we don't even know that we're slaves. We're nomadic slaves. The only thing different about the slavery in the past and the slavery we have now is that you're allowed to go travel freely. You're still a slave. Trump is still going after all the people with student loan debt. 60% of people right now are behind at least a year on student loans. And a quarter of those are about to default. That's a lot of people. Millions and millions of people haven't paid their student loans since COVID. Millions of people. Now, those loans don't go away. Remember, student loans is the only debt you can never get away from. The only thing to get you away from that is death. Even the IRS doesn't have the breadth and the power to go after people as much as the student loan people do. And people don't realize this. Student loans will follow you. You can't even get rid of it in bankruptcy. It's the only debt you cannot get rid of in bankruptcy. Now if I owe the IRS a bunch of money, I can call the IRS and say, look, man, I ain't got no money. Well, I'll pay you 20%. Those commercials come on TV all the time. So you would say, well, I'll pay you 20%. They'll do what's called a debt order and compromise, I believe it is. So that you only have to pay a percentage that's called even. You only do that once, though, once. But you can't do that with student loans. You got to pay that student loan. Ain't no offering compromise. You got to pay it. So all of those people are nomadic slaves. For the rest of your life, they will take that money from you. You'll never have nothing unless you think outside the box. Now, if you live inside their system, you will be a slave for the rest of your life. And you all know it. You don't want to admit it, but the people who are watching here, you know you want to escape slavery because it's a type of slavery. It's like sometimes you wonder. Sometimes in zoos, right? Some of these animals don't even know they're enslaved or in a cage. They just think that they're living their life, and I think that's what a lot of us do, right? We don't believe that we are because we don't know, but we really are. While the rich elite and the banks, the rich elite live a way more de-slave life than we could even imagine. So let me see, how many people on live? Yeah, we got 600 people here. That's pretty good. But I need you guys to like the video. We got 6 likes. I can only see 6 here, but we got 700 people in here, so that's pretty weird. I need you guys to like the video, please. Like the video, right? So I want to talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now has confidently remained above both resistance. It broke out from last week. It was able to close its weekly candle above both zones as well. For Bitcoin to remain bullish, we have to see it continue above that 91.5 resistance it broke out from. Now, if it can, it's likely we're going to have a drive back to all-time highs. All-time highs roughly 108, 109. Bitcoin surged 11% last week to 95,000, the strongest weekly performance since Trump's election in 2000. Trump's elections went back in November. Spot ETFs put in a record $2.7 billion inflow, largest intake since December. That's signaling a renewed demand in retail resurgence, right? Bitcoin is decoupling from the stock market. Now, this is the thing that's kind of weird, is that all of Bitcoin's history, and I told you guys about this in previous episodes. I said all of Bitcoin's history, back in 2011, 2010, 11, 12, back in those early days of crypto, it was a lot different than it is now. It was kind of wild, wild west. Still is a little bit, but it was way worse back then. You go to Bitcoin conferences, people will be praying for a calamity like a war, a pandemic or something, because we believed back then that if the world failed, people would rush into Bitcoin and Bitcoin would skyrocket as everything else failed. We always thought something like COVID back in 2013, 14, 15, we believed that something like COVID would cause Bitcoin to skyrocket. So COVID came along, and a lot of Bitcoiners thought this is our moment, even though it's kind of bad to think like that. But a lot of them thought that. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin attached to the stock market and just did everything the stock market did. And that's been happening since then. It got coupled with the stock market back in COVID, stayed with it, and now it's starting to decouple from the stock market. Now, a lot of people that got into Bitcoin cryptocurrency since 2020 don't realize that most of Bitcoin's history has been completely separated from the stock market. Stock market's up, down, don't matter. Bitcoin would go a different way. Sometime it would go with it, sometime it wouldn't, but it wasn't like it has been for the last 3 or 4 years, directly related to the stock market. It's also decoupling from gold. It's emerging as a true store of value asset, is increasingly being favored by institutions and corporate treasuries. We've seen several companies, GameStop, MicroStrategy, other companies, Tesla, come out and said that they're holding Bitcoin. in their company's treasury as a hedge against inflation or a hedge against the dollar devaluing or anything else that could possibly happen. Liquidity is drying up fast. Fewer Bitcoin is available on exchanges. There's been 10% swings back and forth. Some of the best analysts in the world are saying now they predict a rally to around 150 by the end of 2025. I think we can go a lot higher. I still say we're going to be at 250 by the end of the year. I thought it was going to happen summer, but I'm saying end of the year now. I get to change that because I had no idea that we'd be in 4 months of tariff wars, 5 months of tariff wars. So this could be, we can go into 2026, and that would be the full bull run from the halving. Then we may go through a period of bear market. Now, let's talk a little bit about XRP, the pro shares in the future, fueling the momentum right now in XRP. Now, where's XRP doing? I actually just got off a plane from Tennessee like an hour ago. Came right here. See how dedicated I am? I didn't even sleep last night at all. Tired, man. I was working on the book last night, so I didn't sleep at all last night at all. Because I was trying to, I got a book due in 3 days, but I'm almost done. I just got to, right now, I just got to review it and make sure everything flows right. It's 55,000 words. The first book was 24,000. So it is a lot better, a lot more stories, a lot more breakdowns in that story, in that book. We got a story about financial implosion, which I really wanted to touch on because some of these stories have happened to me in the last 3 years. So I added those in too. One of them was financial implosion is what I started to notice, a concept, and I want to talk about this before we get into XRP, is financial implosion is a coin that I a term that I coined. And what that means is that I've seen this happen several times with several different people, especially in crypto, especially in stocks, even in business. I've seen it happen 5 times over the last few years. Now, what happens, we only got 665 people. Well, something's going on, man. I don't know. That's weird. So, don't get it. Usually we have 1,000 in here. So back to what I was saying is that, so I don't think you guys liking the video. That's what, when you like it, it makes the algorithm go. So back to what I was saying is financial implosion is a concept. Is that some people who aren't used to having money. It happens with lottery winners. It happens with athletes. It happens with people who start businesses and actually make money. It usually happens when a person makes a lot of money all at once, and it's the first time they've made money. They know. I would say the people who are unaware of what happens next normally implode. Now, a financial explosion is something that happens outside of you. Your child gets sick, or you get fired from your job, or the market just crashes you out of nowhere. The real estate market crashes. These things you can't control, you can only react to, but that will cause a financial explosion. An implosion happens from pressure within. That means nothing outside caused you to lose all your money. You did it to yourself. And normally the cause of that implosion is emotions. Now, over the years, I've noticed this concept a lot more, is that normally when a person hasn't and has never had a lot of money and they get connected to a lot of money all of a sudden, it could be through a lottery, it could be through sports, it could be through maybe got a business partner who made him a bunch of money all of a sudden, then they quit all this stuff. What happens is that they implode if they're not careful, because there's a lot of things that affects you along the path of making money. And you got to remember, you have to understand these biases. And I'll talk a lot about those in the new book. There's biases, there's patterns, there's emotions. And if you're not aware of those, every single person will implode. Now, normally when you make a bunch of money up front, if you're not careful, all of a sudden you're making money. In stocks, crypto, whatever, you start to believe yourself. You say, well, I just made $100,000. You start becoming overconfident. Well, I can do this all the time. I can quit my job. I just made $100,000 a month. I can make $100,000 every single month. I don't even have to work no more. And then you get overconfident, which you shouldn't be overconfident. You should actually protect that money like it is gold, because it is. But you should be protecting that money. But then what happens is that if some kind of way you continue making, you could be in an up market, you could be in a business where it just happens to be doing well, or maybe somebody is helping you a lot. Now you're making a lot of money. And what happens is that you start to get an ego, and you'll start to believe that maybe it's you're the special one. Then you'll start getting greedy. Well, I need more money. And then other emotions come on. Now your ego is so high. Well, I got to show off my money. Well, I'm gonna go buy a Rolex. I got a Rolex, but I didn't buy a Rolex till 4 years after I was a millionaire. Almost 5 years after I had $1 million in my account. I didn't buy a Rolex until 2022. I was a millionaire at 17. 5 years later. So you go buy Rolex instantly because you feel like I got to show people that I have this. You go buy cars, you go buy vacations. You may get a new wife. Tell her, I'm the man now, whatever. People do this all the time with lottery winners, whatever. And then what happens is that over time, now because they have so many debts out there, they get even more greedy and they take even more risk. And then pretty soon, though, that convergence of emotions, greed, envy, all these stuff cause you to implode and you start making irrational decisions. Now, the thing about an irrational decision is that when they're driven by emotion, is that everybody around you acting stupid. It's almost like somebody that's in love, right? If a person's in love, none of those decisions make sense. One day they come and tell you they're moving to Canada. You're like, well, you're gonna move to Canada with this dude that don't have a job, that ain't kept a job in 3 months. I mean, ain't kept a job over 3 months since I known him. And you're gonna move to Canada with this dude? Yeah, because she's in love. She don't make rational decisions because her emotions are driving her decisions. And that's what happens sometimes with money, is that your emotions start driving these decisions. You go against the person that's helping you. You spend all the money. You may do a risky trade because you feel like I need the money now or whatever it is. And then all these things start conversion and you implode. And once you implode, you don't come back. And a lot of times, remember, when you make a lot of money, and you stumble on a market inefficiency, that's what we talk about in the book too. They don't come along that much. That they don't come along that often. If all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation where you're making a bunch of money, you may get that chance 2 or 3 times in your life if you're lucky. That may be the only one. You have to cherish that moment. You cannot get overconfident emotion. You can't do that. You have to understand the moment that you're in. You have to take care of that money and build a foundation for the future. You can't implode. You can't start showing off immediately. You can't start getting greedy. You can't get an ego. If you're not careful, you'll lose everything. So, and the thing about it is that, and Zed made a good point. A lot of influencers during COVID imploded. That's what I'm talking about. Is that I saw, if you remember COVID, the PPP money, people selling courses, making ridiculous amounts of money, didn't even know what they were doing. There was a lot of money in the influencer circles during COVID. A lot of influencers imploded one way or another. One got sent to jail. They ended up doing fraud. One of them several started Ponzi schemes. Now, a Ponzi scheme came because they started out with good intentions, but what happened is they got the initial amount of money. They start spending it all. Now they need more money in order to show the world who they are and how much money they got. Then they get pushed to fraud. Then they start a Ponzi scheme. So that's one thing I'm talking about too, is during COVID, think about all the influencers that were around right before COVID and right around COVID. A lot of them are gone. I remember one time I was with Master Investor at InvestFest last year, and we were, I'm sorry to go on about this, but this is very important. And InvestFest is one of the biggest investment conferences in the world. So first year I was there, full of financial influencers. 30, 40 people to my stocks and crypto. The second year was about 8. Third year was 4. And so the master investor comes up to me, he's like, man, there ain't nobody left but me, you, and This other dude over here. Like, yeah, man, everybody imploded. Every one of those dudes imploded because they were given an opportunity to make a lot of money at once. In their mind, they said, I finally made it. I can go nuts. They got pushed to fraud. They either didn't build their businesses right or didn't prepare for the bad times that were coming. And that's that's how you implode. All of those people disappeared. All of them. YouTubers, all these people are gone during all these crypto people. And if you know about cryptocurrency, BitBoy imploded. Who knows the story of BitBoy? He imploded. You see, all of I gotta tell that. I'm gonna change my book to add that. BitBoy is a good example of somebody who imploded. That dude had $20 million at the peak of 2022 in crypto. By 2024, he was broke and arrested 2 times, didn't have no money at all, and was almost going bankrupt. How did that happen? Implosion. Implosion happens. Now, David says they were scam artists. They didn't start out as scam artists. They ended up being it because the implosion and the emotions will cause you to go to scams. So let's move on. I don't want to stay on this all day. XRP Pro Shares, futures. Pro Shares are launching the Bitcoin ETF, futures ETF, April 30th, marking a major expansion of XRP investment products in the United States. SEC has approved it, so that signals a growing regulatory acceptance for XRP-related financial products. If you look at Bitcoin 4 months after they approved a Bitcoin ETF, futures ETF, about 6 months after, they approved the spot ETF. And that's when the price of Bitcoin went from about $30,000, $40,000 to $60,000 because of the inflows into that ETF. Now, the same thing's going to happen with XRP. Now, we got 2 things on the horizon. They have to finish this lawsuit one way or another. And then 2, we got to get that spot ETF. Now, if everything hits for the rest of the year, we're easily looking at $8 to $12 by the end of 2025. Depending on the ETF inflows, futures demands, and also it's going to be tied to Bitcoin's performance as well. Somebody said, Trina Stain says, I've seen it all, including BitBoy shenanigans. You see, BitBoy started out, and when the money was good, he could speak and he was giving his show. Soon as things start going, he got jealous, he got an ego, he got this, and all these emotions caused him to implode. It happens with a lot of people. All those Bitcoin Rodney imploded. All those dudes implode. And that's the danger of making a lot of money fast. Is because it will trick you like you are the man. You have to beat that back all the time. You have to think, and that's what comes from being humble. You have to thank God that you've been given a chance to make this money. You can't ever get an ego and say, I'm the man, I should be making it. That's what causes implosion. It's the lack of humbleness, the lack of understanding emotions, and also the lack of understanding what's coming next. Like my mom says, 7 years of good luck, 7 years of bad luck. That's what the Bible says. 7 years up, 7 years down. 7 years of lean times, 7 years of plenty times. And you have to prepare for those lean times in this times of plenty. You have to do that. If you don't, when the lean times come and you haven't prepared and you have a lot of followers like an influencer, you move to scamming because it's nothing else. And you want to keep that image up high. You got a Lambo, you got a house, you got to pay for all this stuff. You have to plan for that in the lean time. I mean, in the rich times, because the lean times are coming. That's why I live way below my means, way below, because I ain't going back to zero. I live 1/10 of where I could live. 1/10. I live 1/10 of what I could live if I wanted to, and I still live pretty good. All of my money last year went into assets. Every major purchase I made last year was in an asset that produces me income. I didn't spend over $5,000 on nothing except for basketball tickets twice, on anything that did not produce me income last year. Now, I could have bought a Ferrari last year. Like I said, this year, I could have bought a Ferrari, but I bought a house in Puerto Rico that's an Airbnb generating $7,000, $8,000 a month. Now, I could have bought other things, but I bought apps that generates profit every month. That's where I put my money at. Profit generating assets. Now, one day I'm gonna get that stuff, but I want to make sure I'm still pretty young. That can wait a year or two. A Ferrari ain't gonna change nothing anyway. So I'll have one. So, but it'll be fun. What's gonna happen? Like everybody else, I'm gonna drive it a few times, be in the garage most of the time. Like people that get swimming pools, they get out, they put a pool out there, they out there the first few 6 weekends, then it's just sitting there for the rest of the time. That's why I don't want no swimming pool. But I'm gonna get one, but I don't want it. I got 2 swimming pools in the house in Puerto Rico. But let's move on. Psychology of Money, Carolyn. I'd like to read that. Send me that link. Now, a lot of people are saying Ethereum. I need you guys to like the video. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. The CNC is back open. The price is going up at the end of next week to $197 a month. Now, I'm going to tell you my decision on this, and I talked to Micah yesterday about it. I didn't want to do this, but I believe people are undervaluing me. Now, Master Investor is a guy that I really admire. He's a smart dude. He charges $10,000 a year for his program. And all he does, he meets with you every other week, and you get a newsletter every week. That's it. $10,000 a year. Now, somebody came to me yesterday and made me change my mind. He says, I know you get on every week. I know you give reports. I know you got analysts in there, but I don't feel like I'm getting what I want. I'm paying $97 a month, and I'm not getting there. That right there is enough. So now I think that people are devaluing me. I don't like to raise prices, but I'm raising the price to $200 a month at the end of next week. I have to do it. So if you want to get locked in at this price, you better get locked in now. So if you get it now, if you get the CNC, go to jointhecnc.com. You put it in the chat, please, Chuck. So there was a record 449 Ethereum moved into accumulation addresses. And a lot of people say that's BlackRock's addresses, and I kind of agree with them. It signals that there's long-term optimism. And many holders are underwater right now, including myself, on a lot of Ethereum that I bought. Spot Ethereum ETF saw $10 million in outflows, which is not that much. But the crazy thing is that Bitcoin ETF saw record inflows at the same time. I still believe in Ethereum. I think they got some work to do. They probably never should have left proof of work. I don't know why they went to proof of stake. See, Vitalik let the tree huggers pressure him into moving from proof of work. And that was stupid. And Ethereum ain't been the same ever since. Because proof of work does use a lot of electricity right now, but over time it won't, but it does right now. So Vitalik, and back in those days, back in 2000, when they changed from proof of work, the tree huggers were pressuring all the crypto people to change their systems, and he did it. He shouldn't have done that. He should have kept it at proof of work. But what's done is done. I still think Ethereum has a future, but I think it's going to go through a time of turbulence because of a lot of things that's happening right now. So please like the video, and I'd appreciate it if you would go to jointhecnc.com. And if you want a question, please drop a super chat, or if you like the content, drop a super chat. I'd really appreciate that as well. That also helps with engagement. If you guys drop super chats, I get more visibility on the channel. Something's going on. I wonder why how did it drop by half? It doesn't make sense. Something's not right. I don't know what. Maybe I think I know why. No, it's still doing okay. Yeah, I don't get it. So, move on. So, I want to talk about a couple of stocks before we let you go. One is Amazon. I think Amazon is going to start doing great things. Amazon is a rare AI-driven buying opportunity right now. Somebody said I bought 2 Ethereum at 600. So there's a couple of AI stocks I want to talk about. I think Amazon is right now is a great buying opportunity. Right now is a very very low valuation. Stock is down 23% from all-time highs, trading at its lowest price to earnings multiple in the past decade. Wall Street actually sees a 35 to 50% upside on Amazon over the next year. Amazon is still very strong. It probably shouldn't be down that much. Their revenue is growing. Uh, there's a lot of Amazon's long-term AI strategy positions it for a powerful revenue growth into the next decade. I think Amazon is going to start doing a lot of great things, especially with AWS. They're going to expand into AI. Amazon is very good about putting themselves on the supply side of trends, of like the AI trend. And the last thing I want to talk about is NVIDIA. NVIDIA stock is also down, but I think when we move into the third phase of AI, which is cloud and building out data centers, I think that NVIDIA is also building data centers. So I think NVIDIA and Amazon are going to be positioned to do well going forward. Somebody says, what are your thoughts on SoundHound? I think SoundHound is still in play. It's just going through some turbulence right now. Appreciate the super chat, Lisa. We do got the event in Los Angeles. I hope you guys can come out May 22nd. If you, I can't, I don't know the link yet for to buy tickets. I get that available tomorrow. But if you want that link on Instagram, you could DM me the word Los Angeles, and tomorrow I can search for that word and send you the link when those links are available for that show in LA. It's going to be sold out. Like New York was sold out 3 weeks ahead. So the LA event will be sold out. It's called DeLorean Dreams. We're going to talk about a lot of these investments. We're going to break down concepts. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to have a DeLorean there, hopefully, if we can rent one. It's going to be like going into a DeLorean dream. So when you walk in there, it's going to be crazy. And then we're going to talk and lecture and make sure you guys understand these very profitable and important topics, especially AI going into the future and how you can profit. We're going to start an AI Academy too. Here in St. Pete, as soon as we get the app out, it's two things we're going to start. We're going to start an in-person academy here in Tampa, where people can come in for a weekend or a week and they can learn AI, learn stock trading, and learn all these other things. So we're going to start that sometime this year. May 22nd is a Thursday. I know it is, but that's the way it is. I think I knew it was a Thursday. I'll come to Chicago eventually. Micah says, thanks from Sweden. I appreciate you. All right, with that being said, hope you guys have a great day. Please join the CNC because you're going to miss that price if you don't, because we are raising the prices because I can't keep the prices low anymore. But like I said, I hope you guys have a great day. Make sure you get locked in at that price. Even if you buy it for the year or buy it for 6 months, you get even lower price. And I promise you, you won't regret it. Hope you guys have a great day, and thank you. T says, what's a DeLorean? He must be young.